Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. It's Joanna. These are going to be your messages for the month of December 2018. I'm going to make this very quick because I myself don't like long intros. Please remember that these are general messages. My intent is to give you something to think about, something to look at from a different perspective in order to help you gain clarity and ultimately that you can become a more empowered you. So rather than focusing on predictions, I am focusing on what may come up for you in the month of December and how some of these situations will allow you to see certain things and perhaps to create certain things for yourself that you have not been able to before. So I always intend on giving you as much information as I can in order to help you evolve. And how you take that information and how you apply it, or if you even consider it, that is entirely up to you. What I would encourage you to do is to listen to it at the end of the month, because these messages are really limitless or timeless. There is really the principles that I ask to give can be applied to really any sign in any situation. So it is important for you to listen with an open heart and an open mind and see how it can help you. Of course, listening to the other signs may offer you more guidance, and above all, don't take anything that I say as gospel. Listen with your heart and allow yourself to feel whether it resonates with you or not. Sometimes I will say things that may trigger you. If that happens, it's a good indication that something inside of you is wanting to say something. So I'm just going to leave it as is. Also, if you are interested in a Uranus projections, it's a 7-month projection. That information is down below on the Vimeo page. And let me see if there's anything else. Thank you, of course, always for watching, for sharing, for subscribing, and for private sessions, if that is what you wish. That information is down below. Thank you again so much. Have yourself a wonderful holiday season if you are practicing it or if you are celebrating it. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bye. Hello, beautiful Scorpios. These are going to be your messages for the month of December 2018. Let me tune in. See what I can get for you. Okay. I'm going to start with the word that was given to me. I asked for a significant word for you, and what I received was the word indulgence. Right away when I felt this, I knew it was to do with you taking care of yourself, you indulging in self-care and putting yourself first. Whether it is taking care of yourself by doing education, whether it is about finding your own happiness, whatever it is that you do, doesn't matter. Point is, it is about putting yourself first. It is about being considerate of others, but most of you who hear this, put others first and yourselves, some of you probably last. Okay? So, if you are one of those people, and I feel like I've said this before so many times, and I'm sure I've said this to various signs. I'm sure it's a message for every single person who listens regardless of the sign to some extent. I feel like I've said this to you more than once. So if this is coming to you again and you're cognizant of the fact that you're hearing it again, there might be a very loud and important message for you to hear at this time. The number 7 to me, obviously it's a 7 and it's also July. You may have connection to this or not, but to me, number 7 signifies enlightenment. It's the light bulb moments. It's the moments when we go, aha, and all of a sudden everything looks different from that moment forward. And I feel like there is some catharticist. Here's my English for you. There's some moment of some spark that ignites around the idea of the idea of who you think you are. How do I say it differently? As if to say that in the next few weeks, you will begin to see yourself differently by looking at some conditions in your life and educating yourself in the whys, in terms of, why am I still here? Why did this happen? What have I contributed to in this situation? There is a lot of baggage that you seem to be pulling out in front of you, and you're looking at things you thought you didn't have. Mostly what I'm referring to is the idea of attachments in terms of negative, and also things that keep us away from ultimately what we want to be. And I would say, if you are like most people, you're looking for basic things. You're looking for love, you're looking for success, you're looking for feeling happy, you're looking for all those wonderful things that everybody wants, right? But if your idea of you isn't very large, in other words, if you think of yourself small, it only leads to one place, and that is whatever you project out of yourself, in your case small, you will, or it will, return back to you in the same way. In other words, if you have issues and you feel issues, if you have challenges around worth, and you have had tendencies to feel unworthy, I feel in the month of December, and I want to say also January for some of you, actually for a lot of you, you will begin to undo certain things inside yourself that will change your trajectory going forward. I'm trying not to logically understand it. So if you are, particularly if you feel stuck, and this might be a stuckness in a physical place, it may be stuckness inside of you. You're stuck on something inside of you. It's a good idea, again, in the month of December, I said this to somebody else, to take inventory of everything that you wish to change about yourself, and also why. For example, if you feel, if you don't feel very good about yourself, ask yourself, well, why? Why don't I feel good about myself? And then you will find your reasons. Once you know what the reason is, then you really know, then you truly understand the real issue. Chances are whatever you're after represents a certain feeling you're trying to experience or bring back into your life. And when we begin to understand what that is for ourselves, we begin to see things differently, and we take the opportunity to find that feeling within us first, under the understanding that what we believe we create, and what we emit comes back to us as a reflection. So what I'm trying to say in English form, pay attention to your thoughts. Take the time that you need in order to realize your goals. Put them down, notice what they are, write them down, and then ask yourself, what is currently preventing me from having that goal? You should be able to see some of the things that are standing in your way to reach your destination. You can then begin to work on those individual aspects, not by necessarily eliminating them, but by shifting your perspective on what that is for you. I don't want to get too deep because I feel like I could go quite deep right now. Inventory, very important. I also see you taking time out. I see an image of being in a bathtub and very relaxed. To me, right away, the word soothing is all I get. Some of you need to listen to very soothing music. Some of you need to learn how to self-soothe. That is probably one of the most important things and critical aspects of us in terms of taking care of ourselves. It has always been my thing in the past. I never learned how to self-soothe in healthy ways. So there were some other things that came instead. Point is, You need to learn how to self-soothe, how to take care of your own emotional needs first, particularly for those of you who are givers, caretakers, making a living, taking care of everybody else. It is very important, critical in fact, to create a space for you and you alone where you can recharge your energies, for that will benefit not only you, but also every single person you touch. In other words, when you take the time and space to nourish yourself, you then are ready to take on the world because you're fueled, you're replenished. If you are working tirelessly, you might want to, and I'm not talking about just having a project to work on and you have to work extra hours for a while. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about continually working overtime and feeling like you're always exhausted. You might want to ask yourself a really important question and be brutally honest. How does it serve me? Well, the first answer will be, well, I need the money. The next question is, okay, well, yes. Do I really need it that much? Some will say no. Some will say yes. Some will need to be honest with yourself, and you may need to say no. For those of you who believe that there is no other choice, and you are where you are and there is no way around it, that's just the way it is, you may need to look at what causes you to believe that that is the case. Again, I could go a little bit too deep, so I'm going to come back here. Inventory of your thought process, hugely important. Okay, let me move on to the cards. 2 cards that symbolize the energy for December, and I feel they're brilliant. Movement in reverse. So this is movement this way, and this is that way. Okay, you can see the red balloon. To me, it represents right away first chakra. So a lot of you end up doing things you later regret, and you do it for the sake of safety. You will understand what that means once I go further. What this is symbolizing is that December might feel like there is lack of movement, like you are stuck, like you don't know where you're going, you have no direction, and things are just blah. It is also why indulgence was being given to you as the word, because this might be the month where things might feel slow, but perhaps the universe is holding things back because you need to take care of you. The exchanging gifts comes up in reverse position, and part of me wants to cry, part of me wants to laugh. And this is not laugh because I think it's funny. This is like these messages, like these cards, I couldn't have picked them if I tried. This is all about giving and not receiving. So when we are being indulgent to ourselves, for ourselves, we are effectively giving to ourselves. So in another way, we are receiving, yes? But it sounds like you guys don't know how. Perhaps you are working tirelessly because deep down inside you believe that's all there is. And if that's the case, well, you will live your life accordingly. You will not be open to receiving because your belief is there is none there. And then you end up proving yourself correct. Same goes with relationships. This is addressing your needs to give and receive, and noticing where you're out of balance. It is like a battery. We are like battery, energetically speaking, where we have the plus and the minus, the positive and the negative, and that doesn't mean good or bad. Where we need replenishing our energies, because if we only give, well, then eventually we run dry and we get into trouble in more ways than one. When you have issues or challenges with receiving, and that will show itself up in various ways, You need to learn how to give to yourself. So through giving to you, you learn how to receive. And self-soothing, or how to self-soothe, which essentially is you giving to you. Huge topic for you. Huge. The self-esteem, many of you being very sensitive and over empathic to other people, giving of yourself, and you're running dry on energy. So what might be some of the things that will be affected for you, or that will be triggered? Well, brilliantly speaking, seduction and addictions. Need I say more? What are some of the things that you are addicted to? What are some of the things that you are seduced by? No, I'm not talking being seduced by a beautiful man or a beautiful woman. That's a natural thing. Are you seduced by outward appearance and you don't pay attention to anything else? Are you addicted to feeling a certain way and you don't even realize it? You don't want it, but you always keep getting more and more. Maybe you are addicted to sugar or alcohol, but perhaps your addiction is to somebody else. Perhaps you're addicted to feeling mistreated, or to being mistreated. Why would you want to? Simple. It's normal to you. And therefore it's familiar. And whatever is familiar tends to feel a little bit safe and secure, sometimes strangely so. So notice in the month of December, some of your addictions will be kicked up a notch. For some of you, you are workaholics, and that is doing its thing in the background. In other words, it is serving you in a very important way. Aside from the money, you just need to figure out what it is. Perhaps you use it to run away from your problems. Perhaps you choose to do that to prove yourself correct, that at the end of the day, life is all about working hard. You might have heard your dad say that as an example. You might, in the month of December and January, feel slightly jaded. Why would they feel jaded? It's almost as if someone is approaching you and you're like, no way, there's no way that's true. And someone might have great intentions, but because of your background or your story, you have an understanding that whatever is being offered to you, something is fishy. Oh no, it's going to turn out like that, like the last one. Oh no, that's not possible. No, this is too good to be true. Notice if you're not addicted to feeling that way. Again, it's a comfort zone. It feels familiar. Community there's a couple of messages with this. Obviously, the basic message I feel is that December is a great time to get together with people, friends and family. But again, I didn't need Spirit to tell me this, because it is, after all, holiday season for many people. However, some of you may be involved in community dynamics. And some of these dynamics take you away from what's important to you. Now, isn't that interesting? Why would you be involved in something that takes you away from something that you want? And I hear the word addiction. Okay, so perhaps you don't know how to say no. Perhaps you're one of those individuals that's always overgiving, never really asking for anything in return, perhaps because you don't believe you can or you're not worthy. And you got yourself in some situation where initially it felt great, but now it's becoming burdensome and it's taking a toll on you and you don't know how to stop it. Notice if this situation applies to you, because what it is showing is that on some level you're committed to be stuck there. Why? Because you're still there. your heart is telling you, your intuition is telling you that it's time to go, and you're refusing to pay attention. Clearly, it must serve a purpose to you, okay? And for some of you, it's an addiction. It is you feeling always drained and taken advantage of, or overdoing or overgiving, and that's just your pattern, okay? Black leak patterning, to me, talks about rigid thinking, rigid belief systems. Notice the colors, predominant colors of this this creature, I guess. Yellow, red, and some orange. So those are the first three chakras. So this is telling me that many of you, predominantly, and it's orange here, so it's the sacral chakra. So what this is telling me is that a lot of you have challenge with trust. Trusting in yourself fully, trusting love will be there, trusting that you will be abundant, trusting that life is worth living, trusting that there are good people, not just jerks, trusting in anything that would make you feel good, trusting in believing that you'll have a partner, doesn't matter what, that love is unconditional. Many of you have difficulties with trust. Now, it's not like we're walking around in life and we have to trust everything. That's not what I'm saying. This is deep-rooted stuff from the past that creates a blockage, if you will, in our energy pattern, and it creates chaos of havoc, or another way of saying it, difficulties in our life, particularly when they keep repeating. Some of you may not trust men ever again because of what happened. Some of you may not trust women. Some of you may not trust a person who looks this, or that. Point is, notice what are some of your beliefs that keep you safe. What are some of your rigid constraints that you adhere to in order to protect yourself? It's very important. The solar plexus area right there is all about the will. It's also about where we create. The second chakra is also about creation. So if you have difficulties with trust, whether it's trusting yourself, trusting the world to provide to you, trusting in money, trusting in safety, whatever it is on a fundamental level, then it will affect your ability to create. It'll affect your ability to stand tall for yourself and demand from the world what you believe is true for you, or what you believe you deserve. And I'm not saying demand, be prick about it. I'm saying you expect what you believe is true for you. Therefore, you better pay attention to what you believe is true for you, because what you believe you expect and therefore accept. Hugely, hugely important. The number 3 and 8, which comes to number 11. So number 11 is balance. He's asking me to look at this. So at the end of the day, it's all about seeking balance. Whether you're a sign of Taurus, you're a sign of Aries, you're a sign of Scorpio, or any other sign, balance is a thing, and it's a common theme that every single human being really is working on. Okay? So the month of December would be good for you to focus on balance. What keeps you balanced? What takes you away from feeling balanced? If you recognize what takes you away, is there another way you can approach it? In other words, balance comes from within. Yes, certain circumstances are out of control outside of us, but we can always find a space to balance ourselves out emotionally. Very important. Also, the number 3 is all about expansion. So it's also number of March. I would not be surprised if some of you, some of you, actually, it's funny. The vision I have is you're letting a cat out. So maybe some of you have black cats. I don't know, but there's something about a black cat, a cute little black cat. Maybe some of you lost a black cat. I feel like it's a female. This could be an omen, and if it's an omen, it feels like a very positive one. But anyway, around the month of March or spring of next year, some opportunities you will open. You will open the door, which also implies you will be taking the steps to open that door. And I feel it is why it's so important to take the month of December and January to clearly define your goals so that you can see where you're going, so that you can have some direction. And then once you have that clarity, notice what is preventing you from that now. Then work with whatever that is to your satisfaction and then move on. When I asked what areas you'll get hit in, most likely, 2 cards popped up. I feel for most of you this is a relationship. So it could be a situation in a relationship, but also relationship with yourself. Balance 11 is also about relationship with yourself. 10 of Swords is, well, you're freaking tired, but that doesn't surprise me because I feel like I've said this to you before. I feel like this is a continuation of something I've said before, but the good news is, I want to say it's almost over, right? So does that mean that your problems will disappear? No, but the moment you choose to look at life differently, your problems will take on a different look. And sometimes that's all the difference. So good news also is it's 10, right? 10? No, 9. So that's the proverbial, so 9. It's letting go. It's you might be stressing about something. And it could be anything at this point. I do feel you're leaving this behind. Also, if you're not sleeping very well, then again, you might be overtired, overexhausted, overstimulated, drinking too much coffee, working too much, whatever it is, and then you're so tired you can't sleep. So that's melatonin for some of you. Maybe look at some melatonin information. It helps you sleep. Let go of your fears is what I want to say. Let go of constantly trying to make yourself perfect. You already are. You simply are not seeing it. You need to change your perspective. King of Wands, several things. This could be that some of you have sleepless nights around a male. Could be also female, who is a fire sign. This could also mean you have some serious challenges, mental challenges around work. Some of you are wondering or worrying whether you should open or close your business. For some of you, this is refusing to look at the truth. That's how the message came out. You are conditioned to see yourself in a certain way. That also means that the conditioning happened over time. It happened through a set of circumstances which you were a part of that eventually gave you a certain way of recognizing the world. So what is being implied here is it's all learned, which means you can learn differently, but it takes time. Responsibility for self must come first. In other words, when you finally decide it's time for you to be happy, you will then make the choices and decisions that are necessary in order for you to acquire it. Perhaps you're not done yet with unhappiness. Perhaps it is something you're addicted to. Perhaps the feeling of happiness scares you to death because you don't know what it's like. And last time you were happy, things didn't turn out so good. Perhaps it scares you. It's important that you see yourself as beautiful. No matter what the age, no matter what the face, no matter what the body, no matter what the skin color. If you see yourself through the eyes of the Creator, whatever that term means to you, you will see yourself very differently. Choose to look at yourself that way first. Let the rest come later as a result of that. And with that, I feel I'm done. I hope this was helpful. Please take some rest. Learn how to take care of your own self and your own body and your emotions. But most of all, learn how to receive freely. A good example I say often is notice how you take compliments. If you have a twinge inside of you, if you jerk, or if you have this uncanny reaction, chances are you don't know how to receive, and that can be very hard, and it can be scary. I've been there. So, but if you see yourself differently, if you look at yourself from the perspective of what Creator would see you as, you might surprise yourself. Okay. I wish you best of luck. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this can apply to pretty much any part of your life. If it doesn't make sense to you right away, listen to it in a few weeks. Chances are 98% of you will understand this and will be able to apply it in some aspect of your life, particularly if you're struggling. I wish you best of March. Yes, March is important for some reason. I wish you best of luck. Take care of yourself. For private session, that information is below. Thank you once again. Good luck.